I was inspired by Landberg Tile. You can find, if you go to the search box at the top of YouTube, put in Landberg Tile and you will find his channel. And so he was talking about a certain acid that you could clean up your tools, don't throw away your levels. And I rarely throw away my levels, but obviously they are in dire need of cleaning. And I wish I were more on point to clean them after I use them, but I don't. So there's an acid you can get at Home Depot. It's sulfmatic acid crystals, dissolves in water. This is a pound, which amounts to about 16 ounces. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the directions, it's about, I think I have a 2-gallon container here. It's 1 gallon per about 8 or 9 ounces of this stuff. So one of these will dissolve in the 2 gallons of water. I will do it twice, so I'll have 4 gallons, 4.5, something like that, pretty close to that. And I probably should have got a third one, and a fourth one wouldn't hurt either. The issue is that he did his cleaning in a bucket, and as you can tell, I have 2 buckets full of tools. So I'm actually going to use this trough that I usually mix my mortar in to clean those so that I can lay it flat, and all these could be cleaned simultaneously, supposedly. We'll see how it works out. I have a lot of tools. I have a lot of levels that I've saved over the years. I have trowels, I have all kinds of stuff in there that I want clean, and as I said, 1 gallon equals about 8 to 9 ounces of that stuff, so you're going to get about 2 gallons out of every container. And so I suggest, if you have as many tools or more than I do, that you buy about 4 of these containers. That's probably better than what I'm doing. That's 2 gallons already with a mix. This is another 2 gallons with a mix. And guys, I know this is acid because it says there's acid on there, but this is really trippy when you actually pour this in here, which is why I have gloves on. You can hear the fizzing of all the acid happening as if it were like muriatic acid. In fact, you can see the smoke, and I probably should be wearing a mask at this point. That's amazing. I mean, look at that. It's doing its thing that it's supposed to do. And I know that seems very fundamental and elementary and everything, but I'm just still kind of tripping on it. You can just hear it working. You know, my hired hand. My hired trough. Yeah. So what I'm going to do eventually is, when Home Depot opens tomorrow, I'm going to probably dilute this down with about another gallon of water just so I can get to the top of these levels. And then tomorrow I'm going to get another container, mix it with water, and get above level so that I can get all this soaking really well. And I'll probably let it set for about 2 days, and then get a wire brush, and any excess gunk that's on there, like this big excess here, probably won't come off. But very, very cool product that's probably been on the shelf at Home Depot for years and years and years and years and years that I've just never used, never thought about. So, you know, I thank Landberg Tile for bringing this product across, because I would have never known about it had it not been for his video. It's the next day, and look how beautiful all my levels turned out. In fact, it's funny because on the Landberg Tile channel that he did, the title was "Don't Throw Your Levels Away." As if. I rarely throw anything away because it always has a use eventually, one way or the other. But look at that, it's just beautiful. It's just like brand new again. Now, true enough, I didn't show the process of a little cleanup. So you get a little wire brush, one with some fine bristles, works best, I think. Gets in all the nooks and crannies and everything. So there's some minor cleanup, but no more so than if you had cleaned up from the beginning. In fact, there was a comment on his video somebody had posted about, oh, it only takes 10 seconds to clean up a tool. People who do tile, yeah, we're using a lot of tools, and yeah, we do the best we can as far as cleanup at the end of the day, but eventually the buildup happens and there's nothing you can do about it, especially on trowels, you know, like this one is old. And that's just, even though, you know, we do the best we can, it happens. So if you want your tools looking good, and apparently this is not a new product, this acid is not a new product. It's been around a long time. I saw some of the other comments where people said, oh yeah, my father has been using that for years and years and years. I never knew about it. So thanks to Landberg, I know now what to do to clean up my tools. My wet saw will be next, but yeah. So what I suggest, as you saw the bubbling that you heard and all that stuff, it is truly an acid, even though it's powder form. When it mixes with water is when you know, the substances start doing their work. So what I suggest, highly recommend, is that you use gloves, some rubber gloves, like so, that you use some type of eyewear, because as you're splashing around the water, not literally but figuratively speaking, cleaning up, even afterward the next day, you're still going to have some acidic type of water, and if it gets in your eye, you will have a bad day. So use eye protection, use hand protection, and just be careful with it. So yeah, it really works well. My phase 2, now that this has been over, this is only overnight. If I let it set up for another day, I don't know that it would do any better. It may have made some of the thin set and mortar a little softer, but that's about it. Phase 2 is all the rest of my stuff. I literally got all of my tools that were caking all this stuff out so that I can get it all cleaned up in one fell swoop. I also got some spacers and shims and stuff like that that I use over the years, and see how that will work also, although I got a lot of screws in there. One of the things about this acid, it tells you on the directions, don't use in metal, so I had a metal tub that I was going to use, and then it said don't use metal, and I didn't. So what happens is, this is what I thought was aluminum, but apparently it's metal, so it kind of discolors metal objects, as it did with this scraper here. This yeah, so I don't really care, it doesn't really matter to me, but just so you know, even the margin trowel, I think it discolored that also because it's metal, which again I don't care about, but just know that if you put metal in there, you're gonna get a different color tool when it's done. In fact, I have some trowels sitting in there now, and those trowels are discolored also, as will these, once they go in the acid. But yeah, it's a great product. I recommend it highly. The only thing is, you know, the little tiny container that I showed you, as I said, is about $7 and some change per container. I wish they would have much larger, like a gallon container or something like that, because I keep on having to go back. In fact, there were 2 containers I used for this mix, and I'm going to go back for 2 more containers so I can do another mix. So I'm into it now, you know, $28 or whatever. So I would rather spend $30, $35 on a larger container where I just have to mix one time, but you know, it is what it is. So good information. I don't know why I don't know this. I mean, that's the beauty of YouTube, is that, you know, creators are able to share information with each other as well as with you. So there you go. All my trowels and everything that I could think of, including my DeWalt fence, which wasn't messed up bad, but all came out really good. I love the result. So what I've done, the last few bits of stuff that I have, I bought some more of the acid, and that is in the process of cleaning. Tomorrow I will brush off all of that stuff, and all my little spacers that I reuse over and over, and all my little wedges have gone to the bottom of this, as well as some of my pencils that I usually just throw in my spacer bag, because I got some thin set on them. So I'm going to clean those up. Then I have one more container left because I want to clean my DeWalt saw. So that will be probably tomorrow or the next day that I'll take care of that. But yeah, this stuff really works. Alright, an epilogue to this whole adventure of this. Oh, by the way, this acid, just in case I missed it, sulfamic acid. So this particular acid, unlike some acids out there like muriatic Muriatic acid will eat through anything. This is what I've ended up with, and a couple of things I want to kind of go over with this. You see all the rust? It says on the label, don't use in a metal container. It does not like metal in a bad way, because a lot of my trowels turned out kind of black, and the black rubs off of it. But at the same time, some of them rusted, which again is just surface level, and I don't mind that too much because they're going to get dirty again anyway. Some of my older trowels are really rusted bad. So definitely no metals, and the Tylers have lots of things that are metal, so I didn't really care in the end because I'm going to be using them again. But concerning plastic or any type of other aluminum like this, it doesn't affect it, so it comes out very clean. Some of this stuff, I should have gone over some of this stuff before I started. Some of this stuff is really caked on, I mean, from years and years. I showed you my levels before. I really like them a lot. There's some dust on here that can come off, but again, they're going to get used again. I have also a lot of shims from years and years. I have some spacers in here, different sizes spacers, and I have some screws. So the screws are metal, and of course they're rusted, and I don't care. It doesn't really matter. But all I did in here, I think I just left it in this container, and I filled that acid up to almost to the top. Every once in a while, I'd shake it, stir it around. No, I'm sorry, my bad. I used that container there. And so I didn't really have to do any cleanup, and there's little tiny pieces left, but I didn't have to do any cleanup on these. It got them to the point where, you know, like I can use them again. So that I'm thankful for. In fact, this container had a lot of junk on it, and I dipped the container in there and scrubbed that off too. Now, to my tile saw. Oh, by the way, this is the tub that I used. Look at how clean it is. That's just beautiful. I didn't do anything on that. So the tile saw does have some components, obviously, inside of the motor that are metal, and you don't want to get those. If you go to Landberg Tile, you'll see the way he did it. He did it with a pressure washer. He did it with a bag covering the motor and all that stuff. I didn't go to that extreme. It might be easier for you. You know, I'm just putting how I did it out there. And again, I should have really recorded this prior to, because it was a gunked up mess. I've had the saw for probably the good part of a year, and it really needed a good cleaning very badly. So what I did is I just kind of sponged. In fact, I put the plug in there and I let it fill up, and I put the table upside down inside of there without the extension on there and without the saw on there, and I just kind of let it set in its own stuff for a while. And I came in, same way, came in with a brush, a couple of small screwdrivers, and I just got out all the little ridges and all the little places that mortar and thin set and all, you know, everything gets on. And look at that switch. What? Everybody that owns a tile saw knows that's probably the dirtiest spot that we have, because we're always constantly turning it on and off. So I got that really clean. And again, I just kind of dabbed some of that stuff on it, probably 3 or 4 different times in the course of a few hours, and then eventually I just took a brush and a very small screwdriver and kind of all the junk I got off of there. So it definitely works. Everything's cleaned out and ready to go. It doesn't look like new because it's not new, but it looks a whole lot better than it did before. And once this dries out, I do have some rust up underneath. The wheels on here and some of the bearings and all that stuff are metal. So I'm going to spray that with some WD-40. But otherwise, yeah, I'm very happy that I took time out to clean up everything. I'm good to go for about another year, because that's about the only time that I ever have is during the holidays to do extracurricular stuff like this, stuff that I don't normally want to do. So the epilogue to that is, yes, it works. Yes, it's fantastic. Yes, clean up your mess for whatever it's worth. That's my take on it. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm going to post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And donate at least $50 if you're going to call. If you're going to call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.